Hi and welcome back. Hopefully you got a chance to do your 30-second pitch. What was your feedback like? Did the person you were pitching to understand what you did, and were they able to tell you what your three things were? If not, hopefully that's given you something to think about and something to work on. In this video, we're going to start looking more at the detail of what your pitch should look like, how to structure it, things to consider and things to include. So firstly, we're going to think about the structure. There's no real science, like I said in the last video, but we do need to make sure that it's clear and concise and there is a bit of a structure to what you're saying. So the way to think about it is a little bit like a story. You've got your beginning, your middle and your end, which might sound really obvious. However, the way to build that up is think about the problem that you're fixing. So the why are you doing the work that you do? The solution, so what is it that you're doing? What's your involvement in that? And then your impact, so what's the point? What's the point of the work that you're doing? And if you think about that as your structure, so your beginning, your middle, your end, problem, solution, impact, that'll give you a nice starting point to start building things around it. And then remember, you've got your three things that you want to be remembered by at the end of your pitch as well. So your three areas to think about: problem, solution, and impact.
Absolutely. And just be very careful that you don't take too long to tell them what it is that you're doing, because you will lose your audience, because they're going, what is it? What is it you're doing? Please tell me, so then I can listen and find out more. And this is when we're talking about the jargon aspect. If they're finding it really difficult to understand what it is that you do, that's going to be a problem as well. We've seen some really good examples of pitches where they've compared what they're doing to something else that's relatable. So we've heard people say, oh, it's like the Go Compare for another industry. So they use something else where people go, oh, well, everybody knows that. So if they understand that, then they get what we're talking about. One of the really important aspects of your delivery is the pace. Jill and I say it so many times. If you go really fast, try and get too much content into that pitch, that's no good. It's not going to work. People will not take on board the information. They can't. It's impossible. If you think about it from when you're delivering your pitch, people want to write down notes. So they want you, when you say something that's impactful or big, they want you to take a breath so that they get the chance to write that down before you go on to the next bit. If you just keep going and going and going, the problem is they're thinking, I'm missing something else now. So do I write that down and miss the next bit, or do I not write that down, forget about that and listen to the next bit? So the pace is really, really important.
It's really important that you remove the jargon. You've got to make the assumption that everybody you're speaking to doesn't live in your or work in your world. They don't understand the language that you might use internally. So you need to, that sometimes takes a little bit of practice, pitching to somebody on a regular basis who doesn't know what you do, and they'll be able to point out if you're using technical language because they won't be able to understand it.
So this is everything that we're talking about here is practice. So we always talk about the so what aspect of your pitch as well. So when you're sort of putting down what you're going to do and how you're going to deliver it, if you're talking for 2 minutes about a certain subject and you're thinking, wow, is that really relevant? Do I need to give them that much information about the team involved? Do I need to give them that much information about the technical aspects of it? Strip it out. You've got to leave time for them to ask questions to get more detail. The pitch is just a teaser. This is the kind of stuff that we've been doing, and we've got to this stage on that aspect. We're doing this element, and this is where we're at that. You can't give them all of the information and all of the detail. It's that whole period of time that you get the chance to put across you as an individual, what you've done, what you've achieved, what you're looking to achieve, and what the project's there to achieve as well.
Exactly. So we've done this for a long time now, and we've spoken with a lot of judges on competitions, investors, and people who are responsible for in universities and in other institutes in supporting projects to move forward. And their constant message is they are more invested in the team that's driving something forward. What they want to see is energy and passion about the work that you're doing. They want to see you get excited about what you're talking about. So they would rather go with an average idea and a really driven, excited, passionate, motivated team than go with an amazing idea, but somebody who's not quite the right person to drive that forward. So when you're putting your pitch together, yes, you've got to think about your structure. you've got to think about your content, and you've got to make sure that it's very clear what it is that you're talking about. But the way you deliver, the way in which you deliver it is crucial, really. You've got to think about, as Billy said, think about your pauses, think about emphasizing particular words. There's just some really exciting things in the work that you do that you're really excited about. Make sure that the audience understand that you get that across, and you elevate your voice at certain points, so that you can really hit home the bits that you're excited about and engage that passion from your audience as well.
Yeah, if you're not passionate about it, why should they be? And that's passion in you, with how you deliver it. So there's different ways to show that. You've got to do it within your personality. So don't be something that you're not. Don't use humor if humor's not your thing, although humor is a really good way to break the ice. But do it in your way. Show your passion in your delivery style. You know who you are. You know the best way you can put your content together. When you're putting your content together, this is a good tip. We talk about the 3 things for people to remember. Highlight the big statements within the content. I would practice it. You're not going to read it from a script when you do it. But I would write out the content of what you're going to deliver and highlight the areas that are big and impactful. Go, that's really important. And if it's really important, when you say it, make sure you either pause, say it a bit louder, or there's ways where you can do it where you can say the statement and then start your next sentence with the same statement. So we've seen it where people have gone, we're working with 30% of the UK's banks. That's 30% of the UK's banks are invested in our company. So nobody's going to forget at the end that 30% of the UK's banks are invested in your company. So there's different little hints and tips of doing that.
Yeah, so what we want you to do now is start with your structure, start writing it down, start planning out what you're going to say, covering off the problem, the solution, the impact, and then remember your 3 things you want to be remembered by. Start by writing that down. It normally takes a few takes, so you'll write it down and then you'll pitch it, and there'll be some too many words. You've used technical language, you've used some jargon, you've overcomplicated things, and that's fine. A really good tip in order to get this right is to record yourself and watch yourself back, and then you can make changes and then do it again, and then make some more changes and then do it again. That's the best tool. We all hate listening to ourselves and watching ourselves, but it really is the best tool that you can use to get your pitch to a point where you know that it's clear, and you've removed the technical language and the jargon, and you've got your 3 points that you need to cover.